Well, Arise News continues its coverage of African art exhibition Transcending Boundaries. On right now, here in London, for the third time, the West African art exhibition is proof of the growing interest in artists from the continent. Now, one of the Nigerian artists who's showing is Ade Ogundimo, and he joins me in the studio now. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to ask you a personal question straight off. Are you single?
No, I am not single.
No, I'm not asking this because I'm going to ask you on a date. There's nothing awkward like that. Quite simply because I'm going to talk about one of your pieces of art called Love Song, or rather Engineering Love Song, which I think we can actually see happening here. So tell me a little bit about that and what's behind it.
I read a short course, very short course in Oxford University called Pop Art. And I mistakenly went to a room I wasn't supposed to be into. That was the mathematical and engineering students. I sat there with them, and you know, some strange people started coming in, people I'd never seen before. And a short-looking guy, a short guy actually, very short, came in with a massive bow tie and went straight to the blackboard and started scribbling away all this formulae, equations and all. And I could see everyone around me getting very happy. You could see the glee in their faces lit up. And so I had to call the guy's attention and say, what's going on here? And he told me I was in the wrong place, so I left. Yeah. So during break time, I now, you know, asked one of the students in there, say, what was all that about, making you look happy? So I said that, well, that formula that guy was showing them was an everlasting formula that kept going around and around and around. You solve it, you have to go to the bottom and solve it again. So that's how I got that formula. And I come from a family of mostly engineers and builders and quantity surveyors. And I've been to sites too many times for my liking. As you know, engineers build from the ground up. So this blue part of it is like a site that's been cleared ready to be built. So it is quite literally an engineering love song. It is an engineering love song. It's a song that would make engineers beam from air to air.
Moving on, another one, of course, Arrested Development, which will be coming up in just a moment. Tell us a little bit about that one.
The Arrested Development painting is about slavery. I wanted to paint a slavery scene, but I didn't want any gory thing. I like to paint, you know, when you look at my painting, I want you to think what's going on. I don't put it straight in your face. On that Arrested Development, you'll see some writings on the right. You know, it's called Nsibidi. Most people don't know we had our own form of writing in West Africa before slavery. And that's what the colonialists, the slave masters came to do, you know, killed the development of this Nsibidi. And, you know, there's a rose on it as well. There'll be no one left to pick the rose because the slave masters took the best of every community away and dumped them down. Yeah,
it's really sad. You mentioned you were at Oxford. You also, we're both alumni of the same school, London College of
Printing.
Well, printing, but it was communication when I went there. It's evolved a bit. But you also studied in Nigeria as well. How does these sort of three, I mean, very different cultures, I mean, London, even in comparison to something like Oxford University, as well as Nigeria, how does that inform the work you do?
Well, I would say it has no influence at all on it. Wherever I am is home. I paint what's in my environment. It has no bearing at all. I could live in Iceland. It's still, I'll paint whatever's going on in Iceland. You get me?
Another piece of yours called The Cabal. Which is one that I really like as well. Tell us a little bit about that one.
That Cabal is making a political statement. Once upon a time in Nigeria, I think about 2000, during the Yaradua, we had a head of state called Yaradua. Well, they say he was a good man. I didn't know him personally, but he surrounded himself with crooks. And anytime he was ill and went abroad for treatment, he should have put the vice president in charge, but they never did. Get it? But the Constitution takes charge of that. Section 144, 145, 146, you know, and it doesn't, you know, they just think, oh,
I really like your bold strokes here as well. You see a lot of your sort of energy coming through there. Moving on to another piece, because I love oil paintings, Yellow Sun.
Yeah.
This one's quite interesting, I think, in the way you've done it. Tell us a bit about that, the process.
You see, no one knows when a painting is finished. It's only the artist that will determine if it's finished. I set out initially to cover the whole canvas. I knew I wanted to paint a yellow sun. because I had just seen the film
Half of a Yellow Sun. After Chimamanda Adichie's book,
that's
of
right.
course.
I got halfway and decided I can convey whatever message I want with this, and actually it does convey it better than I would have if I covered the whole, thing with paint. It's one of my personal favorite
pieces. This is one of your favorites. And what about that night as well?
That night I got caught in East London in the rain.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was.
Yeah. So that's East London in the rain.
That's East
you know what?
London
I can genuinely feel that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There were no buses. There was nothing, and I just had to stay in some little shelter. And luckily, I had my sketch pad with me. So
this was just, you just whipped it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love the colours and the depth is absolutely incredible. We talked about Yellow Sun, of course. Another one you've got, of course, the sun, as I was also seeing as a theory, is, of course, behind the sun as well.
Yeah, behind the scene.
Behind the...
Sin.
Sin!
That's right.
Oh, my God, well, I'm glad. See, this is why we get you on board, so we can check this out. Very apocalyptic in a way.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
We had a war in Nigeria, the Biafran War.
Biafran War, of course.
The British, who were supposed to be like the peacemakers, kind of behind the scene, were just interested in selling their own arms and all. And the thing I know about Nigeria is we can solve our problems ourselves if only we can shut everyone out. The bird of peace, which represents Britain, is not bringing any olives.
The British flag as well.
He hasn't got an olive branch, he's got rockets.
Rockets instead. Absolutely fantastic detail.
Yeah, so if you pull up the zip, you lock them out, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to convey.
Absolutely fantastic. So behind the sin, get that right. Thank you very much for correcting on that one. Just tell us a little bit about the exhibition, Transcending Boundaries, and where people can check it out.
Oh yeah, right now the Transcending Boundaries exhibition 2015 has moved to Lacey Gallery.
Contemporary,
Lacey Contemporary Gallery. Yeah, do not miss it.
Do not miss it. I can't say enough, everyone. You've got to get down some amazing stuff there. Thank you very much for coming on the program.